Real heavy!
We are live, back again.
Welcome to the Real Heavy podcast. Sorry, it's been a bit of a delay on getting you guys up to speed with our best of February releases, but work's been busy. We've been grinding it out.
Life's been busy, work's been busy, but
Yeah.
the one thing that hasn't stopped has been listening to some sick ass tunes.
Oh yeah. So in this video, we want to shout out our 30 favorite death and black metal albums that came out in February. And if this is any indication of the way the rest of the year is going to go, I think we're in for some trouble.
I'm already scared of what my year-end list is gonna look like.
Yeah.
We'll have to do like 4 separate year-end lists. We'll do like Q1, Q2, Q3.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be impossible.
It's going to be tough, yeah. And there was some great, legacy bands that came out with some really crazy, some of their best work in February, along with a lot of like new debuts. And, it's been pretty insane, just the sheer output this month. And, but yeah, should we just let her rip or what?
Let's let her rip. Let's not waste any more time.
Let's not fuck around. Okay. You go first.
Okay.
All right.
So first up on my list is symphonic death doom band from Florida called Verum. Then their album Necropalace. These guys absolutely kill. Like, I was a big fan of their earlier work. Like, they were not so much symphonic. They kind of went symphonic in this last album. They were more like straight death doom, kind of like they called it like Florida death gloom essentially. Very very evoking like, which I'm a fan of. But then they kind of added a symphonic element with this last album. Really similar to like Demo Borgir and kind of Cradle of Filth with that like blackened kind of symphonic thing going on. But it's slow, it's heavy, it's got some like the symphonic actually works good because they kind of picked up the pace a little bit, but then yet they kind of played around a little bit with different styles and everything, which I appreciate for sure. Like, it's, as much as I'm a sucker for their old stuff, like it's nice to kind of see them evolve and progress and everything like it. Like the vocals, they sound hoarse, but in like a good way. Like they sound raspy and gross and like perfect for death doom. Like the drums are pummeling, and like the symphonic kind of blackened experience just makes it feel very harrowing, kind of like gives you some goosebumps on your skin when you listen to it, but it's a little bit off-putting, but in a really good way. And then kind of unexpectedly, like they got Marty Friedman to do a feature on the last song, which is like 14 minutes long or something crazy like that. Like, such a weird collab, but it works so well. So this goes to show that these guys are kind of coming from the underground up into more mainstream as death metal is. But yeah, super solid release. Probably going to end up on one of my year-end lists, whatever one that we create. It's such a good release. So yeah, got nothing much.
I was really, really impressed with the solos on that album.
Yeah.
It like really threw me for a loop, and like some of the most technical shit that has been released this year in terms of guitar work.
I wouldn't be surprised if Marty had his hands in like some of the other songs, not just the one that he was featured on.
Yeah. It was very interesting. And I agree with you. I'm not a huge like symphonic death metal or black metal fan, but it just works in the full scope of that album because of the vibe. Like, even from the artwork, you kind of feel like it's going to be some like 80s or 90s Transylvania, like Dracula influenced vibe with it. and it helps to add to that atmosphere a lot, and it's really fucking cool.
It is, and I think they split their time basically between like Montreal and Florida, because it's only a 2-piece band. So like they have some inspiration from like the Montreal scene and kind of the Florida scene too, with how many legendary bands are down there. So I think we got some good company to deal with. So
that's sick. Kind of in the same vein. So my first recommendation is a band called, and this is a debut album. It's a project called Yaldabaoth, and with the album Profane Shadow. And this album is very, very interesting to me. So it is kind of like an avant-garde, dissonant death doom project. But there's a lot of brutal death metal and progressive death metal elements. These guys, it's just 2 guys, so similar to Worm. These guys are from California. It's actually the drummer from that band G-Gon. The crazy, like, you know, what do you call it? Cosmic dissonant death metal project that's like Gorguts on steroids. And then these guys are both also from another band called Bedlam of Cacophony. And the cool thing about this album is they tagged like a shit ton of guests, specifically vocalists. So each track, almost every track, features like a different vocalist from a different band, kind of in that scene. You got the vocalist from The Last of Lucy, you got the vocalist from Archaic, the vocalist from a band called Bad Acid Trip, the vocalist from a legendary band called Impaled, and more. And then this album is also mixed and mastered by Errol Ulag, who is the guitarist from Teeth, that like technical death, dissonant death metal band that we like. And he's also the drummer in that death doom band called Zomhampley. And he has his own studio, so I think it's called like Bright Lights or something like that. But yeah, this album is super interesting. It blends a lot of off-kilter and like kind of funky or angular dissonant death metal in the vein of like Teeth and another band called My Place of Worship is Silence. But it has some real straight up black metal parts, and then some really slow, almost like death doom parts. Think of bands like Severus, with that really slow, deep, brooding, cavernous kind of like atmosphere. And then the other cool thing about this album is that there are a lot of these like almost Egyptian or like Middle Eastern instrumental tracks as like interludes or like lead ups to a song, and it creates this like atmosphere of, you know, an ancient type of, it feels like it was written and recorded in like the tomb of an ancient crypt or like a pyramid, you know. So it has that kind of like atmosphere throughout the album, which just helps to add to the uniqueness of it, and it's in the direction of the album. And there's a lot of twists and turns and stuff like that, which keep it really interesting, like for this type of death metal.
it's like Nile went off the deep end.
Yeah, exactly. And it's super unhinged in some parts. So I feel like it's an album that is something that I'm going to come back to throughout the year, likely. And who knows, maybe it'll land in a top spot at the end of the year.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I even noticed like this year, like that was one of the last albums that we had listened to in the year, and it was like, or not in the year, in the month, and it was just so jam packed. Like I don't remember a February that has been this jam packed.
Yeah. With quality releases.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like not a lot of garbage.
Odds. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was very, very solid month. So the fact like they're capping it off was pretty sick. So okay. We're gonna go a little bit more straightforward here. Straightforward death metal, just grimy and gross from Indianapolis. With a band called HAMARR and their album Necrotic Rituals. If you want a group that brings the energy, then like holy, like these guys, they put out like a 26-minute pure hardcore death metal, no mind-bending solos, no like gross riffs, or no, tons of gross riffs, like no bendy solos or nothing like that. It's just HM2 driven modern death metal straight to its core. A little bit of brutal death in there too, but it's just like pretty much to the core. That's what you're gonna get. Like I think it's very similar tone wise to like a Gate Creeper, but they musically they play similar to like a Dying Remains, Gates to Hell, Sanguisuga Bog, kind of like that beat down, kind of just riff laden death metal, which is they know what they do and they do it extremely well. And sometimes you just need like that caveman shit to be like stank face, don't say anything, and it's just get out. It's gross. Like vocals super deep and powerful too, which kind of pairs well with the intensity and everything of the album. But it doesn't overpower anything. Like they kind of work in harmony, which is hard to do, but I really like it. And then it just creates like this like wall of gore, if you want to call it. It's just like they both work together, and it's just encapsulating you and swarming you with just atmosphere and death. And it's just every time like you listen to it, it's just like a little harrowing. It's like you have to look over your shoulder and make sure no one's watching over you. But yeah, it's pretty much just like no bullshit. You know exactly what you're getting into when you turn it on. And like if you want to fuck some shit up, then this is an album for you to throw on and get down and dirty. So
yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's nasty. And that Iron Fortress Records that it came out on, they're putting out some absolute heaters this year.
Underrated for
sure. To be a big contender for, you know, one of those labels that just puts out like some of the best modern American death metal. You know, it's so super cool to see. Kind of in a similar vein, this band needs no introduction. They are Swedish death metal giants, and they've been around since 1998. And they're absolutely no slouch when it comes to putting out consistent and bone-crushingly heavy HM2 driven Swedish death metal of the highest caliber, by the way. And that is Paganizer with their album As Mankind Rots. So this album is their 14th album to date, and it's an absolute heater. This project is the baby of the legendary death metal songwriter Raga Johansson. If you want to look him up on Metal Encyclopedia, it'll blow your mind just how many projects and albums this guy's been a part of. He is like the pinnacle of Swedish death metal. This album comes off the heels of their 2024 release, Flesh Requiem, and which was also like, I think, a perfect Swedish death metal album. But this album takes the feral nature and sheer like drive and velocity of that album and just turns it up to 11. The production on this album is perfect, and it's brutal, and it's like forward moving. The writing is forward moving, and it's like just fun and catchy, for this style of Swedish meat and potatoes, straight up in your face death metal. It's chocked full of relentless blasting, razor sharp riffs, earth shaking drums. It has groove, it has tempo shifting craziness, and it's just like super fun and enjoyable. It's a great, put it on in the gym and fuck shit up album. Yeah, there's nothing really more to say other than these guys are legends. And if you're looking for just straight up pedal to the metal, old school Swedish death metal, you can't go wrong with this album. It's damn near perfect for this type of death metal.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you don't need to say much if you've released 13 other albums prior to this one.
Yeah, and if every album is like consistently better, then that says a lot for the band. Some bands, they just release albums for the sake of releasing them, and then I don't know, they just kind of get washed out. But yeah,
good balance between quality and quantity, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay, we got we're going a little bit more experimental over here from I'd call it experimental thrash / death metal band from the UK called Cryptic Shift, and their album Overspace and Supertime. This is one of those bands and one of those albums where it's like you need to dedicate an hour and 20 minutes or whatever the album is in your life to listen to this thing front to back, because it is such a treat. Like, you listen to it and it's just like you need to have no expectations, because it is so diverse and it's so like encapsulating. You just need to let the album take you where it's going to go, because they obviously have a route they want to go, but you just can't go in with any expectations. Like, it takes some dedication. It's not for the faint of heart. Like, there's tons of like angular dissonant sections, ambient sections. There's sections with like ripping guitar solos and like weird cosmic atmospheres, and like it sounds as if you are trying to like escape a black hole, but like it's you have hope, but then there's no hope, and then it's pulling you back, and like you can't escape, and it's crazy. Like, I think if the guys from Blood Incantation were tripping on acid, then this is the love child of what that project would become. Like, it is. I didn't think Blood Incantation could get any more cosmic and any more diverse and crazy, but apparently these guys did that.
I'd put Blood Incantation meets Artificial Brain.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It is so it's so insane. And I also really like the thrash elements of it, because you don't really see too many modern death metal bands go the route of thrash. It seems to be kind of dying off, unless you're like a legacy band that's keeping that forward. So they kind of have that pace and that intensity bashed with everything else. I think is a nice little treat. It makes it stand out. But like I said before, you need to go into this thing and listen to it all. Like, put it in when you're driving on a long trip, after a long day, just like chill out on the couch and listen to it. But like, I think it's one of those albums where maybe it's not as re-listenable because you need to dedicate so much time to it, but every time that you do, if you can make the time, it's totally worth it. So I'll say this is probably one of the most dense albums that we listened to this month, but it's like I said, totally worth it. And again, good chance that this thing is going to end up on some of your end list when it's all said and done.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a strap in and take the ride kind of album.
Strap in on a rocket.
Yeah, strap in and strap on and strap in.
Strap on and get fucked by the rocket cock of
alien riffs. Yeah. All right, it's time to get a little this album, before the year began, 2026 began. I think this was probably my most anticipated release for 2026, and it lived up to all of those expectations that I had. And that is the new Fossilization album, Advent of Wounds.
Ooh, yeah.
As soon as this album was announced for early 2026 from this Brazilian death doom band, I knew right away this is going to be a year-end contender for 2026, no questions asked. And I knew that when they drop this, we're all going to be in some trouble and a world of hurt. And this album did not disappoint. And as soon as I put it on, and I've re-listened to it like a few times now, my jaw is basically on the floor the whole time. For me, it's like a perfect blend of dirty incantation style, cavernous, old school death metal, and then mix that with a perfect modern death metal production and sound quality. And the songwriting is super fresh. It's really well thought out, and it has like some of the nastiest, filthiest riffs and gloomiest dark atmosphere that you'll probably ever hear. The music makes you feel like you're literally rotting from the inside out. The cover, I love all of their cover art, and like from their previous albums and EPs and stuff. But the cover photo of this album, it's like a fossilized corpse, and it has like this, I don't know, like rotting kind of like vibe going on, and it looks like there's like spider webs and shit on there. But that's the way it makes you feel. It's charred, it's nasty, it's pus filled, it's suffocating. The one thing I really like about this album compared to their last album is, aside from like the death metal riffs and the super crazy licks and solos, is the amount of actual like black metal and blackened death metal influence that they brought with this album. There's a lot of like super down-tuned tremolo picking, and it adds a level of anger and forcefulness to the music. It like helps to drive that death doom and ram it down your throat. But it reminds me of a band called Alterage, which is more leaning into like the black metal side, but it has that same just like relentless like darkness and like driving force. All I can say is, give this album a spin. You definitely won't regret it if you're into, heavy death metal. And I guarantee you no one's doing it like these guys this year. And unless something else falls out of the sky in my lap, this is probably going to be a top 5, maybe top 3 for me this year for death.
Just, that's the one thing too, is when you have that in your mind and like months in advance, like you're good when it's like you haven't even heard the album yet, you've maybe heard one single from them, and you're like, it's already going to be an album of the year. Like, well, as soon as from their track record,
as soon as the announcement came out, I was just like, oh fuck, like, because it's going to be like unbeatable, and just based on their track record, and they're just such good musicians, there's no way that they would put out anything like bad. And so it's crazy. It's so good. The other band, I'm not sure if they're from Brazil as well, I have to double check, but there was an album that came out last year called by a band called Escarnium, and it was kind of like reminding me a lot of Fossilization. But I don't know what it is with bands, Brazilian death metal bands, but like, fuck, just something in the water over there.
they're pissed off is what they are.
Yeah.
But they incorporate like tons of like old tribal type influences too. Like, guaranteed it's all because of Sepultura.
Yeah, probably.
But it just, they pioneered everything, but then now everyone else is like, okay, how do we take what they did and just make it darker or more brutal or whatever? And it's just, it's amazing what can be done. So
Yeah.
okay. Speaking of crazy and experimental, we got a progressive death metal band from got members from Canada, the US, and India. And the group is called Moore's Verum with their
album called Canvas.
another fantastic transcending obscurity release. And like these guys pulled out all the stops for this one. Like the one thing that impressed me so much is, like, I would say musically this is like late 90s gore guts with the vocals of Ulcerate, but still encapsulating some musical elements from Ulcerate as well, but all tied up in a bow in like 30 minutes, which is completely crazy because usually you're spending 40-50 minutes or more on one of these albums. So it was, I don't know how they condensed it to still make it feel so dense but then yet so accessible. Like it's fantastic, and it still doesn't lack anything. Like it's not like an all up in your face display of death metal, but like it still packs a punch with like everything that they do. It's still dissonant, like they still have all those dissonant elements, and it's not just like a noise fest essentially throw it in your face. Like you can tell that these guys have got some serious musical training behind them, because it's just, it works so well. But like it keeps you in a headspin the entire time, and like you don't know where it's going to go. Just with like the skronkiness and everything of it, it just makes it very, very addictive and kind of like very re-listenable as well, because the same with the Cryptic Shift album. It's just that sometimes you sometimes not zone out, but there's so much going on where you miss certain parts. So if you can have something that is creative yet enjoyable, yet you can come back to it, that's why I might even put this album above Cryptic Shift, is because you could listen to this album over 2 times and not even get through the Cryptic Shift album once.
Yeah.
So it's just easier to get back and to listen to it over again. I'd say the guitar work on this one, it's more punchy, if that makes sense. Like it's not as like, sure, it's heavy, but it's kind of got like a hardcore element to it, where it's more abrasive. But I think it works, kind of keeps you more enlightened and more engaged and everything like that. But all in all, still one of the best albums that was released in February. And like, again, like this is gonna be so difficult to try it. Like these first 4 albums that I've mentioned could be easy top 10 album of the year in any other year.
Yeah, I know.
But it's just like, how else do you compare it? Like it's bonkers. So yeah, that's what I gotta say about these guys.
Yeah, that was a fucking sick album. Another transcending obscurity masterpiece.
Underrated. Need more love from those guys.
Yeah. All right, my number 4 is a one-man death punk / death metal project from New Mexico that your neighbors will really enjoy. And it's a project called Cemetery Rain with the album Confined to Time. This guy, like I mentioned, one man project. His name is David McMaster. He's part of some other bands, but this album is an absolute fucking ripper. Super groovy, very thrashy. It's like the perfect crossover of like blackened death metal, thrash, and punk. And it has this like mid / up tempo pacing, lots of super fun riffs. It's just like a riff salad with this like super crusty D beat and like continuous double kick drumming that makes you want to just like shake your fist, you know.
Angry man yells at cloud.
This is like music that you'd want to listen to if you were amongst your allies charging into battle. The opening riff on the song Spiral Eyes will have you banging your head and shaking your booty at the same time. I don't know how that's possible, but you just be like
gotta get a bottle girl to show you how to do a 2-for-1 combo.
Yeah, exactly. But this is like mosh pit party fuel music. Like, it's so dirty and it's so fun, and I can just imagine tearing it up in the pit. But yeah, it's a really fun release. You know, if you're into punk, if you're into thrash, you're into like groovy death metal, don't sleep on this one because it's really fun. It's really catchy. So sometimes you just need that in the mix.
Just want to put a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Just, knows what's doing. Get in, get out.
Yeah.
Love it.
Fucking around.
Hell yeah. Okay, got another legendary band for us to talk about from Bay Area in California. It's Exhumed and their album Red Asphalt. And like these guys have also released an extensive discography. But this one is still an all killer, no filler, shreds front to back. And like if you do not believe what we have to say, then you'll end up like the guy who's on the album cover there, where you're splattered all over the highway with tire marks and everything on it. Probably the most vile album cover I think I've seen in a very long time. Like very, very, very gross, but it works with their sound.
They're like a very gore-soaked band. They really lean into that gore.
It's funny. It's funny. Yeah. Like these guys, I know they stated in the past that they draw a lot of inspiration from like Carcass, and like it's super apparent in their sound because they're constantly switching between like this grindy leads and like groove laid solos, and then the drums are always in like 7th gear, riding the hi-hats, and then like harder than an 8-second bowl. Like it's just it's constant, it's unrelenting, it's basically hang on for dear life pretty much. Like these guys have been around the block too. Like they've been around since the 90s, and like they've been still putting out like that 90s style death metal, but with modern day production. So like they have that edge that you need, but also they have that experience in the songwriting department where they know the recipe to basically make a good album. And I think sometimes a lot of modern death metal bands, sure, they might have the tone, but they don't have the musical capabilities to do so.
The experience,
yeah, and you need that experience. So like it makes this album much more enjoyable, I think. So I'm curious to see how long these guys can keep up with everything in their craft later on. Because I know these guys are getting on the older side, but they're still ripping around. So might as well keep on listening. So like if
putting up their best,
it's
like the best shit right now.
Like it's crazy. Like I don't know what the fountain of youth is, but these guys are. There's so many bands drinking from it. They better be charging an arm and a leg, literally.
I think death metal is the fountain of youth.
I think so.
And I was thinking this is just a sidebar, but I was thinking about this the other day, and there was a study that came out that said people that listen to death metal are the happiest people on the planet. And I think that the reason why is because we have an outlet for taking out our angst and our anger and our anxiety. And we do that through the music that we listen to. So it's like mental punching bag.
Exactly.
Instead of having a physical punching bag, or you could take out your anger in the gym, or you could take it out through auditory means like listening to death metal. So
that makes sense.
It kind of tricks your brain into thinking that you just threw a dude out the window but you really
You drove over them.
yeah, yeah, but you actually didn't, but your brain doesn't know the difference. So, you know,
Interesting.
yeah, we should start we should go to school for psychology and then start a death metal therapy clinic.
True. There we
Yeah.
go. Then we
Here,
can
just
we can
put on
interview
this
some dudes and
Yeah.
like act as their therapists.
yeah, yeah, throw on the exhumed album and your problems will go away.
Exactly. So yeah, like 90s death metal, death grind. Basically, that's what you're looking for, then this is the album to put on.
Hell yeah. Let's switch it up here a little bit with my pick here. This is a really fun one for me. It's a project or band called Nullingroots with their album Fourth Dimensional Dreamscape. So I was February 2026 years old when I discovered that two of my favorite musicians in death metal had a project together. Basically, Cameron Bosch from Light Dweller and Alex Haddad of Archaic and Desiderium are both in this band. And when this album was recommended on one of the Facebook groups, I'm like, oh, the cover art looks cool. Threw it into the playlist, put it on, and immediately from the tone and like the tone of the guitars and the vocals, I'm like, this is Cameron from Light Dweller. Sure enough, look it up, go on the Bandcamp. I'm like, what the fuck? How come I haven't known about this? And since then, I've been going back through all of their discography, and they have a pretty decent run up to this album. But it's a really great project. It's like black metal that is super atmospheric, but instead of being depressive and dark and bleak, it's heavenly, it's uplifting, and it's dreamy. It has a lot of black gaze, shoegaze influence, but it also has there's some heavier parts, but it has a lot of like post-metal. There's even some post-hardcore. There's a lot of like twinkling keyboard or piano throughout with some like, Dreamscape type synth or whatever they're doing in the background. If you like that kind of vibe and you want to like switch it up, this is a really great release for that. At an average runtime of about 8 minutes per song, each song on this album is kind of like a beautiful journey through time and space, and it's the perfect album to put on a long drive, or like if you're doing monotonous type of computer work or something like that, put it on and it'll just like float away. It has a lot of shifting and climbing at different turns in the songs. You're soaring high and then you're kind of being brought down, but then you're back up again. It just makes you feel good. It's a very immersive album, and it's something that deserves your full attention front to back. I feel like that's a common theme for this year so far. There's a lot of projects, and I don't know if that's just the way that we're starting to listen to music is changing, where we are appreciating the full project, and because we're listening to full albums, the sheer volume of full albums, we're just appreciating that more. But there are some albums where it's just like, you can listen to, like, you can pick out any song and it's going to be a ripper. You don't have to listen to the whole album. But then there's stuff like this, more of like the black metal leaning side, or more of the atmospheric stuff, or like the technical stuff, where you have to feel like you need to do it justice by listening to a full body of work.
But yeah, I think it has to do with our listening style. Like, it's something that we didn't know before, and then the more that you do it, the more that you realize how many bands actually do it, but the listener doesn't know. And it feels like a crime if you cut halfway through, because like you're so engrossed in everything. It's just to try and get back in that same state or that same vibe is just not going to be the same if you wait for longer to listen to it.
Yeah. It's just, you know, these guys, these musicians are so, like, their output is just so crazy. They're such like professionals in their craft, and like all of the projects that they're a part of, they are consistently putting out music. So it's really cool just to follow them as musicians. And I'm glad that I stumbled upon this because I love all of their other projects. So definitely going to be keeping this album in the rotation for sure.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, buddy. Okay, we got a progressive band from Slovakia called Holotropic and their album Individual. The one thing I liked about this album was they're a 5-piece band, but it basically shows that, like, to be considered like a quote heavy progressive band, like you don't need a tune down, a drop F, or to have a 7-string guitar in order to like meet the mark. Like these guys kind of flip the script where the vocals are actually that possess a lot of the heaviness, if you want to call it, which is kind of nice to hear because the vocals in this album are so powerful that it's just why basically put a limiter on it. Just let it loose and just let it do its thing. Like the guitars don't sound too terribly down-tuned, and like it's more of like a punchy sound, if you want to call it. And like the drums are kind of thunderous too, and it creates more like a vast cavernous atmosphere. Not as like down-tuned and abrasive. And like the songwriting is very deep and methodical, like very BT band like, but without like a lot of the twists and turns. But it's still enough to prevent listening fatigue throughout the duration of the album, which is good. And then also a lot of use of saxophone too, which I've noticed that is coming back like over the last couple of years. A lot of bands are incorporating sax,
like Rivers of Nile.
Yeah, Rivers of Nile. Oh shit, there was the one. What was the band of the guy at Rivers of Nile who plays the saxophone?
Oh, Cyborg Octopus.
Yeah, the kind of the OGs of the saxophone use in metal. So like it's pretty cool to see that coming back. I'd also say that these guys are comparable to a band called the Contortionists, but I say that the vocals are more harsh than those guys, but musically they're very similar, which provides kind of a nice edge to the album. Like I'd say this is probably as far as you can go in the progressive metal space without adding like a death metal influence or something like that, or even like a hardcore or modern metalcore or something like that. So this is pretty much progressive metal to the core. So if you're looking for like a super diverse album that showcases basically the best that prog has to offer, then I mean, give this one a rip. It's a good one.
Sick. Yeah, I really enjoyed that album too. Yeah,
it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it definitely gave me like old Contortionist vibes, which was cool. That's a band that I wish would put out new shit.
Please.
All right, we're going back to the black metal territory here with a band from Dublin, Ireland called Coscradh, with their album Carving the Causeway to the Other World.
Yeah.
This album came out on 20 bucks spin. This is likely the most dark, feral, and evil sounding, oppressive black metal album that you'll likely hear all year. And this album is literally what a nightmare sounds like. From the vocals that are absolutely unhinged, it's like the vocalist is getting ripped apart by wolves. His range goes from like super high-pitched shrieks and cries and like yelling in some parts to like deep gurgling guttural lows to like goblin croak singing. It's like a man that's been like possessed by demons spewing venom. It's really, really scary music, actually. The drumming is like bestial and raw with like super fast blasting. Guitar work in this album is just savage with like crazy tempo changes all over the place. You have like super fast tremolo picking to like catchy, groovy, almost like black and roll or rock and roll parts. But there's just non-stop shredding and riffing, like they don't let up. And yeah, it's really kind of crazy. It's like these guys are putting on a clinic. Like I can't imagine how insane they would be to see live.
Especially in England.
Yeah, and the guitar solos, like there's a song in Gaelic, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Adrad de Goek, and the solo near the 1 minute mark or near the end of that song is insane. And then the guitar solo near the 1 minute mark of a song called Caesar's Revelation is some of like the most filthy guitar work I've heard so far this year. And yeah, so if you like venomous, nasty black metal, this one is for you. It'll undoubtedly be on many people's year-end lists as well in 2026 because holy fuck, man, just very, very crazy album. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but it's one of those albums that just like gets its claws into you, and then you're fucked. Like you're getting tossed around inside the black hole, and yeah, it's hard to like turn it off once you have it on. It gets its hooks in you. So
those albums are always fun to listen to.
Yeah. Sweet.
You betcha. I think this one's kind of similar in terms of like chaotic and just pure chaos essentially. It's like a death metal influenced grindcore band from Texas called Trucido with euphonic delusions of a spiritual warfare. Now, crazy name. So then this is what I wrote in my notes. If Fuck Around and Find Out was an album, I'm pretty sure this one would be it. Like, it is just, you don't know what you're getting into when you listen to this album. But like, you're gonna find out real fast as soon as you press play. Like, it's just basically it's a 16-minute album, not very long, but it's just these guys from Dallas basically annihilate anything in its path. There's 17 songs, and it's just, you know, fusing the world of brutal death, grindcore, maybe a little bit of tech death in there too, but it's just essentially everything that's chaotic is in this album, and it's just fucking flies by. And like this production on this album has like a haze over it, if you want to call it, that feels like this album was recorded in like a cinder block basement with like mold and rats everywhere. Like, it's grimy and it's sludgy, and like the tone is so beautifully disgusting. Like, it just puts a smile on your face. Like, you can't say anything more than that. Like, but then adding that to the brutality of the rest of the music is so cool. I think like the vocals are more death metal inspired, like lots of deep gutturals and inhales, but the drums and the guitars are more grind inspired. So then that's where the fusion of the two come together, like ultra fast power chords, cymbals being hit harder than Chris Rock's face at the Oscars. Like, it's just instrumental annihilation is what it is. So like, if you got like Wormrot and Pig Destroyer is written all over this album for terms of like comparable bands, but it has more like guck and grime to it. So like, if you never want to take a trip down to the sewers and check out some nasty underground stuff, then this is this is one for you.
Sick. That's awesome.
You.
My next one, I'm gonna stick in the kind of like the blackened territory. This is a band called Dwell Not with their album Monolith of Ephemerality, and they're a blackened death doom kind of like avant-garde noise death metal band from Italy. And I tried finding information about them, but it's one of those bands where all the members want to remain anonymous. Apparently they're in other projects and bands in Italy, but they don't want the emphasis to be on them so much as the music, which makes sense, because this album is extremely diverse and interesting. I was going into it I was thinking it was going to be just a straight up death doom album, but it's really interesting. It has like the suffocating, pummeling atmosphere of that Project Choir, where it's just like really dense and thick, but then there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of like doom elements, there's a lot of black metal elements. It's like blackened death doom, and kind of like Portal. I would compare it to Portal. You're getting sucked into a black hole. But this is an album that not an easy listen. It's something that you have to listen to in its entirety in order to truly appreciate the full body of work, because it's one of those albums that when you start, it like starts to consume you and take you over. It's kind of like a virus working and weaving its way through your body and burrowing into the deepest facets of your mind, and then ultimately becoming you, like Robert F. Kennedy's brainworm. Or like the little alien in Men in Black.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's like, and you need to like just let it take you over and listen to it from start to finish, because it's really, really cool and interesting. I listened to it at the gym actually the other day, and yeah, it was great for the gym because it kind of like puts you into that meditative type of state, and you're just like focusing on your exercises and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it was a great album.
Yeah, nothing more. Just gross and dirty and
Yep,
in the underground.
just fucking listen to it.
This podcast is sponsored by Iron Image Barbell Club. Iron Image is located in Selkirk, Manitoba. It is the gym of choice for moi. It offers a whole host of fitness equipment. Your classic bodybuilding gym equipment. If you like to lift heavy things and listen to heavy ass fucking music, then Iron Image is the place for you. They also offer spin classes and
Yoga.
group fitness classes or high intensity cardio classes, if you're into that sort of thing. I enjoy going to the gym, lifting heavy shit while I listen to heavy ass music. If you enjoy that as well, then you have to check out Iron Image Barbell Club. They are fucking awesome.
Okay, we got more of a straightforward death metal band here from the Netherlands called Buried, and their album Imagine Deformation. These guys formed in 2013, and they're formed from a couple of members from one of my favorite brutal death metal bands called Pioneer. But they opted to go more of like a progressive, like the more death metal route than the progressive brutal death. So that's why it was kind of the change of pace. Very bass heavy focused album. That's more of a polished sound coming through, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it's nice when this one rawness in the production. So different strokes for different folks with this one, but still worked out great. Like the songwriting consists of lots of tremolo picking, with some like old school death metal influences. And the intensity of the album like does not let up at all, like throughout the once. So like this is perfect for, you know, hitting PRs at the gym, or I don't know, Taekwondo. If you look at death metal doing Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu or something, like it's just a get it out kind of manly album. There's also like a blackened death metal blanket that kind of encapsulates everything too. But it helps like to compensate a little bit for some of that extra polished production and just give it that oomph that like some death metal listeners are wanting to, like something to grab onto so then they can appreciate it all. But like I wouldn't say this album is reinventing the wheel by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just like a solid listen. It's a very easy listen too, if you're just wanting to get into the death metal space. So whether or not it'll stay in my rotation, we'll have to see where it goes. But I mean, it's an no killer, no filler, solid death metal release. Can't say more about it.
Sick. Yeah, that was a banger.
Hell yeah, it was.
Banger. All right. We've got some more black metal here. Specifically a 40-year Norwegian veteran band that has risen from their frozen cave in hibernation and are back with their newest full length, and that is Mayhem with the Liturgy of Death. This band has had its just Wikipedia. This band, they've had members murdered by other members. They've members commit suicide. Like this death enshrouds this band from its inception in like
legendary
88. Yeah. This album though, I've never been into like Mayhem. To be honest, last year was kind of the first real year that I started getting into black metal. This is like straightforward, black metal, but this album, in terms of production, going back in some of their previous albums, it's easily their cleanest and most clear album in terms of production. It still has that classic, like frozen to the bone guitar tone and that sound, that classic black metal sound, but the production is crisp and it allows for all the instruments. You can clearly make out each instrument and they all shine through individually, which is really cool. It doesn't just sound like it was recorded with a tin can on a string in some fucking basement. But in terms of songwriting, it's also probably their most progressive and melodic album to date. I was really impressed with songs like Weed for Nothing and Aeon's End. They're really catchy and they almost have kind of like a Black Dahlia Murder-esque melodic and blackened death metal quality to them. And then the vocalist Attila, his vocals are probably the most gnarliest that I've ever heard from this band so far. And maybe that's like them getting older and just not giving a fuck, but they're so unhinged and just like, it's like gangrene style vocals. Like it reminds me of the vocalist from the previous black metal band that I mentioned, that Coscradh band. It has this like feral quality to the vocal performance where it's just like pure evil, like the vocalist has been like possessed or something. It goes from like the classic black metal shrieky, like high-pitched vocals to more of like your mid-range death metal style vocals to like disgusting low gutturals to like morbidly creepy clean and like low whisper style vocals to sounding like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. It's just like evil and demonic, but it's so fun. But yeah, I haven't really been into like this band or I think maybe one of the members that got murdered or did the murdering of the other member, he was the one who formed Verum, which is that like really controversial, like racist black metal band, white supremacist black metal. But yeah, I've briefly gone back through some of Mayhem's early discography, and this is probably the most accessible form of that band to date, given that they're 4 decades in, which is so I don't know if this will be their last album, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool. So
I feel like you should start with this one. Like, if you want to get into Mayhem, this should be the first album that you listen to, and then kind of work your way backwards.
yeah,
Which usually that's not how it works. Usually it's the other way, but
my headphones died, so I'm gonna have to freeball it here.
raw dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll work my way up here with the black and death metal band from Slovenia called Insanguinate, and their album Death Saturnalia. This was Sangris Tugabog's second cousin twice removed, and then he became a black metal fan. Nothing related to the music. It's just a funny name when you see Sangria on anything.
Yeah.
But like, I was impressed with this album with like the array of dimensions that were showcased. But they're all black metal adjacent. Like, you have typical black metal stuff, or you have black and death metal riffs, or you have some like melodic black and roll type solos as well. Like, it just basically seems to be a one-stop shop for like everything black metal, and like I enjoyed it a lot. Super high octane album as well, like plenty of groove and rhythm, with some like thrash elements incorporated in there as well. Makes for a fun listen. It also has like a kind of like a 90s black metal ambience to it a little bit, but with like more modern and crisp production. And like it provides more of like a classical listening experience, if you want to call it that. Like, I can't say I'm too familiar with like the Eastern European black metal scene. Let's try and come up with a comparison. But like some of the review pages were saying bands like Marduk or Funeral Mist, that are 2 bands that could be somewhat similar to those, but I have to listen to them first. But like, all in all, I think it's pretty unique album. Like, I can personally say, like, this is not a style that I've listened to like a whole lot. But like, I was pleasantly surprised with everything and how accessible it could be. So I could definitely see myself listening to something like this in the future. So I think it was a pretty solid album.
Yeah. It's funny how like my tastes have changed as well over the years. Never used to be into black metal at all. But then it's been creeping in. It's been, dipping its toe in to me, and then it's like, oh, and then another toe, and then a fist. Here it comes. Yeah.
Now you're on the soap slip and slide, and you can't get off.
But like, black metal is like a totally different. I feel like we'd have a whole podcast just talking about black metal releases, because it's like a totally different ball of wax.
But I think it's because there's so many bands that are like, you could be listening to a death metal band with black metal influence.
Yeah.
And then you want to be like, where does this band get their inspiration from?
Yeah.
And then you start listening to black metal just so that they can find the inspiration, or you listen to the inspiration, and then it's just like, fuck, takes you.
So good.
Yeah.
Okay. Continuing down the blackened thread here. This is another one-man plays everything project, called Impious Throne, with the album Sadism. And this was a pleasant surprise for me. This is one of my favorite crossover genres. We're talking about black metal being like an influencer. This is Blackened Death Grind from the legendary Danny Morris, who is the drummer for one of the greatest grind bands of all time, Maruta. So what I can compare this to is if you like that recent Scour album from last year, and you like death grind, slow churning death grind from bands like Numa Hagen, or if you like Maruta, then fucking say no more, because this thing is a absolute booty clapper. So this is actually Danny's third full length under this Impious Throne title, and man, it fucking slaps. All of his back catalog stuff, like Astral Invocation of Flesh and Suffering, and Suffering, sorry, Astral Invocation of Flesh and Suffering, which are two separate. Both of those previous albums are really good. But yeah, this thing is absolute crusher. You have like really great black metal riffs, melodies, soaring leads with like hard hitting blasting, D-beat drumming. And the drumming is like next level with one of my favorite snare tones ever. I actually didn't know that Danny Morris was behind this project, and when I listened to it, I'm like, the drumming sounds like Maruta. And then I looked into it, I'm like, fuck, okay, well, that's why. But yeah, really crazy double kick drumming. Like his footwork is like, he has these really cool double kick parts throughout the album. But it's just like deep down, gnarly, disgusting black metal. The vocals are ranging from like piercing highs with deep death metal guttural lows, oftentimes done in overlap where they're obviously, he's recording the lows over the highs or vice versa, like chainsaw style vocal, similar to Maruta. It's just, yeah, all killer, no filler, overall front to back savage release. So it's really, really cool. I just love the blend of like melodic black metal with like heavy hard grind core drumming. It's like just fits so nicely.
It's just like a glove.
Yeah, just like
so good. Also, if you were pointing out all these bands, you just might have to become the new metal encyclopedia. Just like, don't even go on there. Just ask James, like, okay, this band sounds like this. Who are the members of this band?
Yeah. Yeah. Super cool. Well, that's what's cool about it, is like following, you like find out who's behind something, like a project, and then you like search them up, Metal Encyclopedia, you find the other projects that they're involved in, and then you search those projects' music, and it's like, oh man, it's just go down the never-ending hole. Blackness.
Yeah, that website is so cool.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Okay, sticking with black metal here. Got a black metal band from Quebec called Incandescence, and their album Horton. I think this is one of the more powerful and black metal albums that I have heard and listened in like recent memory. Like black metal to the core.
Oh yeah.
Everything from like bellowing vocals, intricate double kicks, and on the drums, and like amongst all the other technical drum work that's going on here. The tremolo picking, like it's gotta be happening at the speed of light. It is just insane, and then brought all together just to induce terror in like any listener that dares to put this album on. And like nothing about this album seems to be dragged out or cheesy either. Like it seems to be more mature and polished, with like a greater depth in the song structure as well. And then also having the vocals that fit the bill and the atmosphere too go a long way. Just because like sometimes I feel like, especially black metal, it can get kind of cheesy and redundant with all the shrieks and shrills, and it's just it doesn't work. But not with this case. This is a two-man project though. In their they're two of the busier artists in like the underground Quebec metal scene. There's one guy in this band called, his name is Philip Boucher, who plays drums, guitars, and bass in the band. But he's also one of my favorite, a member of one of my favorite black and disco death bands called Chizzy E-List. If I'm saying that right. And you can hear a lot of overlap in their sound between that band and then Incandescence as well. So that's pretty sick. But I think like if you, this might be one of the most technical and like dissonant black metal albums that you'll probably hear on all of this month. So I think it's one of those where you just gotta throw it on, check it out, and I can only say so much to do it justice. You just gotta.
Relentless is the word to use for that album.
That is a good word. Yep.
Yeah, really good.
Brutal.
Okay, we got a little bit more black metal here. This album, it's called On Rust by a band called Drawn into Descent. Phenomenal album. These guys are from Belgium. They play incredible atmospheric black metal with a lot of elements of like doom. There's some post metal, but it has this like overarching atmosphere that has like a haziness to it, almost like ulcerate, just without the dissonant guitars. What I can compare this to is like when you're listening to it, it feels like you're stuck in like endless gray clouds, but the clouds are not clouds, they're smoke and pollution. Kind of like a industrial type of fog. I listened to it's only 4 tracks spanning 40 minutes. One thing I will say about this album, it's very emotional. The emotion comes from the vocals, but also from the music. And there's the one thing that I can kind of appreciate from black metal is that it has that ability to kind of, because the songs are longer, more about the journey, they have more space to like kind of build that atmosphere in their songwriting. And it can really pull on whatever's going on inside. And one thing I will say is this album is not for the faint of heart. If somebody's going through some mental health issues, if you're in a depressed state, this album is pretty fucking dark. It has a hopeless vibe to it, especially for the first 2 tracks. And then it starts getting a little bit more uplifting. It makes you feel like there's hope again, like the sun is shining through the dense fog, like on tracks like, the title track On Rust or Open, but then you get dragged right back down again. And the only thing I'll say is this album is appropriate for the time that we're in the world. And if you say that and then you listen to it, you'll just get it. You'll just understand. But really incredible songwriting, phenomenal instrumentation. These guys are very skilled in the sense that they practice an incredible level of restraint and just precision with everything. They don't have to go absolutely mental balls to the wall to get their point across. And the vocalist is really giving it his all on this album. You can feel the emotion. It perfectly matches the depressive tone of the music. It's like a dying man screaming out. That's all I can say. And you can feel the pain. It's like tangible there. But again, if you have 40 minutes, it's a stunning piece of art that needs to be fully listened to for you to appreciate, and you'll see right away like how it can take you on this mental kind of journey. But yeah, it's a very, I don't know, perspective type album. Like the music can kind of be the canvas to which your thoughts are painted upon, and then you can kind of like, whatever you're going through at the time, that music can either pull you deeper into that emotion or it can lift you out of it. So, but yeah, beautiful album. Definitely going to be, if we have a black metal tier list, which I don't know how many fucking tier lists we're going to have, but like if we do, this will be peak for me, I think.
Yeah, that's what we might have to do. Like, we might have to do top 10 black metal albums, top 10 death metal, top 10 progressive death. Like, it's just to do.
Can't get around it.
Yeah, it's gonna be too. It's even that is probably gonna be too hard. Like, it's gonna be insane. But yeah, that's a proceed with caution type album, I'd say.
Yeah. It kind of gives me like, Cave Sermon has the ability to do that for me. Like, pull on the emotions. Convulsing. There are just some bands that like do it really well, and this is one of them for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, we're sticking with black metal here. Wouldn't say it's as deep and depressing, but it's still a killer release, straightforward. From Russia, a band called Bizarre Cults, and their album Altsum Fin, I believe is how you'd say it. Like another back-to-back killer black metal release. So if there's ever like a 1-2 punch for black metal albums of the month, like listen to Incandescence and then listen to Bizarre Cult. And like these are two albums that, in my opinion, should not be skipped at all. Again, like his album seems to lean more into like traditional European black metal with some atmospheric parts as well, as opposed to like the more modern avant-garde type black metal. Which makes sense with these guys being from Russia. That probably would lean into more of that Eastern European sound, which is, again, something that we're not too accustomed to, but it's nice that we're kind of diversifying that out a little bit. Instrumentation's a little bit more like punchy and rhythmic, not as dissonant as some other bands, but the pace and style is kind of like black and rollish at times, after following like a more atypical tremolo picking and double kicking drums that you typically see from basically any black metal band. So there is a little variety there, which I appreciate. Like throughout the 42-minute runtime, like nothing really stands out as being out of place or unnecessary. Like all the riffs and everything feel intentional. There's not a lot of like atmospheric parts that are 2 minutes long that are taking up a full song length or anything like that. It makes it feel redundant. Like it's all instrumentation the whole way through, which is nice. And then at least you know that with like whatever track you're gonna put on, you're gonna be getting some killer music. You're gonna get some black metal. You're gonna get a little bit of this. You're gonna get a little bit of that. And like at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with it. Like it's just one of those where is it gonna be top tier? I don't know if it's gonna be top tier. Is it gonna be bottom tier? It's definitely not gonna be bottom tier. Like it's just, you know exactly what you're getting. It's just a solid release front to back. So like I think if you like the kind of black gaze band Mole, they put out an album in January. I think if you like that style but with a little bit more of a blackened touch, then I think Bizarre Cult will be right for you. So
sweet. Nice. I am briefly getting out of the black metal here, and we're going to switch it up to brutal death grind power violence from Ukraine with a band called Stroop with their album Abyss Surge. this is the four-piece band's debut, and fuck me sideways, up and down. This is a slapper. This is a straight-up death grind assault unit. They blend the surgical brutality of HM2 laden death metal with the speed, chaos, and ferocity of grindcore. There's no gimmicks in this. There's no polish. Just a churning maelstrom of relentless riffs with some pinchers, some pinch harmonics in there. You got some deep death metal and some nice toilet bowl guttural vocals, which are really just the chef's kiss on there. And then you've got all the crazy propellant blast beats going on. And you know, sometimes you just got to let your hair down. You got to extend your jaw, you know, protrude your forehead if you can do that, and just let your knuckles drag on the floor.
Just go back to time.
Yeah, this is the perfect music to just let out that inner Neanderthal. Best bands I could use to describe this for fans of Caustic Wound, New Mahajan, you know, Pig Destroyer, All Pigs Must Die. You like any of that stuff, you'll really like this. You know, I encourage you, throw it on while you're at work, in the office, get pissed off, throw your boss out the window, or at least pretend like you are when you're listening to it.
Throw a desk or two.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about with the therapy side of it. You know, if you pretend that that's happening, your brain will be tricked into thinking that it actually is, and then, you know, maybe you'll feel some type of way. Or the music is just creating a psychopath. So, but yeah, there's a riff in this song called Exhumed. It's like halfway through, and it's like super slowed down. It's like chopped and screwed, just really gross sounding, but it'll make you just want to fucking murder anything and everything in your path. So, yeah, great album, great band for a debut. It's like really killer. I'm really excited to see where this band goes, and you know, hopefully they're doing okay over there in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. That's how you escape it. You escape the war by just creating some disturbing, chaotic music.
Yeah, no,
that'll be their outlet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okie doke. Now we're kind of doing something similar with like a death metal crossover band from Illinois called Embittered, and their album Architron. I like my death metal like I like my pizza. I like it crust first, and and these guys certainly bring the crust. I think I would say it's like a crust punk / death metal crossover, and like with like death metal being the more prevalent sound, but there's still like a ton of rhythm based inspiration as there. Well, like I'd say, like if you like bands like Bastum or Tribal Gaze, then I think those would be two good comparisons. The vocals on this album might be one of the most gnarly things I've ever seen or heard, like all month. Like it sounds like a demon inhaling through the depths of hell, with like snarls and like snares in every corner. It's like it creates like a perfect 1-2 punch between like the crusty guitar tone and then the vocals. Like it's just, yeah, it's gross. I love it. And there's also like some ambient components layered throughout the, like over top of the thrash and death metal riffs too, which is kind of cool. Like it creates a dissonant and yet uplifting experience. Like I thought if death gaze was a thing, like a combination of death metal and shoegaze, I think this might be the closest thing that you would call at some aspect, because I haven't heard anything like it. Like it's just melting pot of everything. It's kind of cool. I forget the tracks on when they were doing such a thing, but yeah, it was pretty cool nonetheless. So I think like this is probably one of the most creative and original releases in all of February. So I think it'd be a shame if no one checked them out. So I think for what it's worth, you better throw it on and make it happen.
I have to re-listen to revisit that one.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's part of like listening to all these albums is like sometimes you forget what they sound like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a pretty fast listen if I do remember too.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to kind of get in and out. But yeah, so many layers to it. It's pretty sick.
Sweet. All right. Next up for me, we've got some absolutely fucking brutal death slam from Canada. So don't put away your Neanderthal yet. Put them back in the cave just yet. This is a one girl plays everything project called Codex Crudelitas with incongruent vacant forms. It's none other than Alice Samard, insanely technical, ripping fast, brutal, slamming death metal, super talented, national treasure, Alice Samard, who's been putting out absolute cross-genre heaters all year so far. She's got another project coming out pretty soon, I just saw, and I heard the single that they dropped, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, how does one person put out this sheer amount of quality music from like black metal, black gaze, a lot of death metal, aggressive death metal, brutal slam, to like grind cold? Like, I don't get it.
She doesn't sleep. She's possessed.
Machine. This album is phenomenal, and it originally was first released on Bandcamp, so there's no Spotify link, but there is now, and I added it to our February playlist, so if you want to go back and check it out, it's disgusting. There's toilet bowl guttural vocals, snappy, that classic snappy poppy snare tone. Just listen to the title track, Incongruent Vacant Forms. Some of the blast beats on that song are just savage. You have like super jarring and angular off-kilter slam riffs, really technical bass licks that sound like the strings are wet noodles and about to fall off. And then plenty of bass drops that will just like blow your speakers. But if you like technicality, like brutal slam technicality from bands like Relics of Humanity, Stabbing, Defeated Sanity, but you also like the full, retard mode slam of bands like Body Box or Peeling Flesh, Snuffed on Sight, this is right up your alley for sure. Some of the headbang inducing slam parts remind me of like early Despised Icon. Super groovy, super technical. But yeah, just a crazy good release, and the sheer output from Al Samard this year is enough to make my head spin. And another example of following an artist. It's so cool to see like what she's putting out, and it's all
give her the Order of Canada.
Yes, give her the key.
Spread the word for underground death metal.
Yeah, so good,
insane, good for her. Okay, I got something probably I maybe call it as chaotic. I don't know. We'll have to see. Let the listeners figure that out. It's black metal / chaotic death metal band from Massachusetts called Diva Car, and the album is Call Me Nothing, The Absence. If you need an album to make your hair stand up on end, then I would listening to this album like listen to this as soon as possible, because like it's this one that's like, ugh, it's scary, but it's like it's scary good too. Like it's dissonant yet chaotic, and it's powerful, and like using the elements of like disso death and black metal, and it's all tied up in a nice neat bow with like some atmospheric parts in there as well, and it creates like an off kilter it's harrowing listening experience. Like it's like the dissonance and atmosphere reminds me a lot of Primitive Man, with like how insanely powerful it is, but the pace of the album is more so like an ulcerate. If they went off the deep end, which I know is hard to believe, but somehow I feel like this like Diva Car is a little bit heavier than ulcerate, a little more dissonant, which is crazy to think about. But like being able to create something so dark and powerful while encapsulating so much dimension in the sound is super impressive. Like the drums are thunderous, and the guitars feel off-putting, but like scrocky chords and like vicious tremolo attacks, and like it's just a combination of everything chaotic and everything blackened is just like all in this album. But I have not seen this album being posted very much. Like it seems to be one that is just kind of kept under wraps a little bit. Yeah. So I think this is one that needs to kind of be pulled out of the weeds and showing up a little bit. So yeah, give this one a rip.
Sick. Yeah, I thought that album was fucking awesome.
It was.
And in the same vein, in the same, grocery aisle, so to speak, we've got a German dissonant black and death metal avant-garde band called Farson with their album Ein Stumpfes Instrument. The cover of this album reminds me of a previous album by Nightmare. It kind of has this like weird ghostly twisted up figure on the front that's really creepy looking. This project is really interesting, blends a lot of that black and death metal, but with like a lot of jazz elements actually. Extremely technical, proficient playing, super odd time signatures, really chaotic, super skronky, guitar parts, but somehow managing to be melodic and catchy at the same time. It's very like restrained and calculated, but then you're fucking hit with a straight up chaotic guitar part and almost like freeform jazz style drumming. I compare it to a band called Thantifaxith, a band they put an album last year called Hexrot, and then Nightmare. Super interesting, really wild album. Definitely going to be returning to this one, also to that Diva Car album. And both these albums are not easy first listens. I think a few go arounds to like really appreciate what's going on. But what's really fun and interesting about this style of music, for me at least, is every time you go back and revisit it, you hear something different every time, and then you just appreciate it more and more. But yeah, I think both these albums might, if depending on the replayability and stuff like that and going back to it, they might both for me end up on the album of the year list. So see what happens.
Just absolutely unreal again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just black and death metal. This is not considering everything else that got released this month.
Yeah.
It's just
wild.
Just bonkers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got two more here.
Yeah.
And we're ripping to the Frenchy land over here with a band called Mortisima and their album Prophecy. I think this is the death metal album for you if you want something that got some serious progressive metal influences as well. Then this is gonna be right up your alley. Like, it has the common death metal elements like courtesy of like the blast beats and the double kicks on the drums. And like even the guitars have like that death metal feel as well. With like the speed and the brutality and the down-tuned guitars, and it's just basically infecting carnage on anyone who listens to it. Like where the progressive elements come into play though is like with the vocals themselves, because they're not low gutturals how you would expect with a typical death metal band, but they're more of like a loud bellow, and it's kind of like a more hollow yet powerful sound, if you want to call it that. Like it's kind of very cavernous and not like off-putting, just kind of like, you know that feeling you get when your dad yells at you, or it's just like just overall scary. It's not important scary. Like that's kind of what I could compare it to. The lead vocalist of this band sounds very similar to a vocalist from another band called Palaces, which they will be mentioned in the other episode. But if you listen to these back to back, they're very, very close. Yeah. You might get glimpses of old school death metal, like real death metal and black metal throughout the album as well. So it makes this a very diverse and very creative listen. It might take a few listens, like we said, to try and deconstruct everything and get a grasp on it. But at the end of the day, it's a very solid release, and it's like worth all the time that you can dedicate to put into it. So like this is the album that you reach for when your girl says that I'll listen to everything, because this album literally has everything to it. So if like she gets mad at you for listening to this album, you can't get mad because it literally has everything for everybody.
Yeah.
So can't say nothing more about it. It's just do us a favor and go listen to it.
Sick. All right, my last two here are very like the Neanderthal has fully emerged from the cave. And, springtime, he's come out of hibernation now. He's playing music, growing his brain or shrinking his brain, whichever way you want to think about it. But second to last for me is a band called Mastication of Brutality Uncontrolled, with their album The Epoch of Anthropogenic Deities.
Menschen sind blind für die Realität. Sie sehen nur, was sie sehen wollen. Wir fangen in den Grenzen ihres Ganzes.
Now, based on that title of band and album, what sort of death metal do you think this is, Rick?
That would be slamming brutal death metal.
Gee, I wonder what. I wonder how. So this is insanely technical brutal death metal from Germany, consisting of current members of Despondency, another insane brutal death metal band, and featuring the previous vocals of the beautiful Defeated Sanity, Mr. Konstantin Luring. And who's an absolute monster on the Bree Breeze and the Cookie Monsters and the Grumbly Gurgs vocals. But if you like Wormed, Defeated Sanity, Stabbing, then you'll absolutely fuck with this beast of an album. Musicianship is next level, technicality, like ridiculous. Drumming, snare tone that's tighter than a nun's biscuit. You will
like it.
Appreciate this, can't say enough, can't say anything more, because there's really nothing else to say. You just have to listen to it. You'll be like, holy fucking shit, that man, this is wild.
You should do this is the album where you should do reverse listen to the last song and work your way backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to change it up a little bit, and it'll be even more brutal.
Yeah, really great, killer album. And great for anything. Great for going out on a date for first time, first date, having tea with grandma, just cruising in your vehicle and the windows down and scout in your neighborhood.
Cruise night on Sunday night. Oh, at the lake on Saturday nights. Yeah, explain to me why no one does that. Why do everyone at lakes, they're like, oh, I want to listen to country music, or I want to listen to, like, I don't know, classic rock. Like, why does no one want to put on, like, brutal death metal, sound on the fire?
Yeah, sound travels nicely on a lake. You could bring your speakers out on the boat and maybe you'll draw some fish in.
This is what our trend this year is going to be a brutal death metal summer. We're gonna start a trend, and everyone's we're gonna be listening to it all on the boat.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny. Okay, last album here. This one, what a fucking underrated release. This one. These guys have had like a meteoric rise too since they dropped this album. First full length, 2-piece technical black metal band, from guys from US and from Greece. They're called Phasma, and their album Purgatory. Another album that progresses like fantastic technical ability and depth, with like a very respectable runtime too, which is like such a pleasure to listen to. And like calling this album like a pure technical death metal album would be basically calling it like a hamburger sandwich. Like, sure, it meets the criteria of a sandwich, but there's like so many other elements and so many other ways to make up a sandwich that it's just, you have other ingredients to make a sandwich, so you just can't call a hamburger a sandwich because there's other ways to do it. Like, it makes no sense. So, because you got, like, in this album, you got black metal, you got deathcore, you got diesel death, and then like there's even some elements of grindcore in there as well. Like, it's, again, super diverse, like everything you can imagine that's in here, and it is like amazing. And like the pushes and the pulls from like the blazing deathcore sections to the more melodic and slower paced solos, and then back to like the blackened and grindy leads. And like, it just leaves your hair standing up on end, and then you're just like wondering, like, where in the hell have I been? Like, what have I been like listening to? Like, you take off your headphones and like you got to give your head a shake because you're like, what the fuck did I just listen? Like, your face is all messed up and everything. Like, each time I've listened to this album, like, it keeps on getting better every single time. And I just imagine the more that I listen to it, the more that it's just going to keep on getting better. So like, you pick up on all the little nuances and everything. So like, it's the gift that keeps on giving, if you will. So if you like bands such as Crypts of Despair, even some elements of Necrotic as well, then I think this is an album and a band that you should check out. So I'd say one of my favorite releases of the month, that's for sure. So
yeah, another transcending obscurity fucking heater.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those guys know how to pick them. All right, last but not least, I've got a bone crushingly heavy, stomping old school death doom band from Finland called, and I'm going to butcher this, Madatis, with their album Kuolman Olutuvudet. and this is a Bandcamp only release, not on Spotify. This band and album is so disgusting in terms of like its down tempo, death doom vibe, and just the mix of this thing. The bass is really forward, really in your face in the mix, and it sounds like the strings are about to fall off. Like, it's just so loose and gross sounding, but yet the riffs are stank face inducing, mid-tempo, stomping, old school death metal with like really super slow, almost like stoner doom or like sludge sections in these songs that make you just want to shit your pants. Just poop them. Just poop your pants. Whereas you don't want to be at work, just shit your pants.
Yeah, just wear diapers, chase pants, be a man.
Yeah, listen to this album. Shit your pants. There's plenty of twisting guitar solos that are carefully sprinkled throughout, but they're all really dirty sounding. And again, I can't really say much else than what I've said. If you like to headbang in your car while other people are staring awkwardly at you in traffic, then this is the perfect album for that. And again, you know, it's spring 2026. You know, let those Neanderthal titties out.
Mm-hmm.
Let them hang loose.
We have no shame now.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be a Neanderthal and, you know, walk down the middle of Portage and Maine and, you know, dill down and dirty, we'll be there. We'll support you the whole way.
Is that it for our...
That's it.
Wow. We did 30 Oonga Boongas.
No kidding.
30 Oonga Boongas this month.
So if there's seriously nothing in here that you guys like, then I don't know what you listen to, because we pretty much covered every base in black and death metal and black and death metal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a good month. That was fun. We'll
Absolutely was. So
we'll catch you guys on the next one. Please feel free to share, subscribe, like, follow, all the things, and then check out our Instagram, and we'll post
at real heavies or Instagram
at real heavy, and we'll post the link to our Spotify with most of this music. A couple of the albums I think are Bandcamp only, but we'll post them as well in the description. And then if you guys have any good recommendations, releases, hit us up. We're always open to hearing about that too. And we've got a whole nother episode that we're going to be releasing here for February for everything else that we listen to. Things like post-hardcore, hardcore, post-metal, black gaze, gent, you know,
doom, tons of stoner and doom,
sludge doom shit. Yeah, exciting. So the sky's the limit, and follow along if you guys want new releases, new music, whatever. We're listening to a lot of it, and we will be your guinea pigs.
Absolutely, we will. We'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Peace in the Middle East.
Peace in the Middle East, literally.
Catch you on the next one. Bye for now.